Donald Trump is waking up to more terrible news. Vice President Kamala Harris has taken her biggest lead in the average of national polls thus far in the campaign. Donald Trump gave a disastrous interview last night with Elon Musk, where Donald Trump was slurring his words the entire time and seemed to be in steep cognitive decline. Donald Trump is sending the following emails to his supporters this morning. I am subscribed to this email listserv, so you don't have to be. Let me share with you how desperate these emails are that Donald Trump is sending to his supporters. He is literally sending stalking style emails and love letters to his supporters. Like emails like this with the subject line, whoever's getting the email, exclamation point. So since he sent it to me, it says, Ben, exclamation point. Please, Ben, please tell me your response to the first question hasn't changed. Are you voting for me again? And then Donald Trump sends this love letter in an email. Dear Ben, I wanted to say this to you for a while, so I'm just going to come right out and say it. I would be completely lost without you. Watching Kamala Harris run our country into the ground makes my blood boil. While I campaign around the country and answer any question the fake news media throws my way, she twiddles her thumbs and watches the world burn. But your support gives me hope that we will save America from these radical leftists. To be completely honest, without you, America would never have survived 4 years of crooked Kamala and her tyrannical regime. But right now, my campaign is at its most critical moment. So give me money. Or how about this email that he then sent? He goes, the official Trump Gold USA flag. This is from the personal collection of Donald J. Trump. Imagine this. You can get the American flag, but disgraced, with Donald Trump's name over it, the same way he disgraces the buildings that he commits fraud with and puts his name on it. Now the United States American flag can be misappropriated by Donald Trump and the MAGA movement. Donald Trump goes, Ben, I know what I will be wearing the day we take back the White House. A Trump Gold USA flag pin made right here in America. I saved this one just for you. 100% made in the U.S., almost completely sold out. Trump Gold USA flag pins are only for real American patriots. I don't know, how about just American flags? You put your name on the American flag. I just want you to think about this, folks. So Donald Trump has changed the national anthem, and he now sings a song by the J6th Choir at his events, not the national anthem. And Donald Trump now takes the American flag and he puts his name over it like one of his cheap buildings or one of his cheap products. He cheapens we the people, our American flag, by putting Trump on it. That's not your flag. That flag belongs to we the people. What in the world is that? That just goes to show you what a cult that is. And Donald Trump writes this, Ben, I was thinking about you. And then the email that goes the following. From the desk of Donald Trump, I'm back from the campaign trail today after my hugely successful interview with Elon Musk. Last night, I addressed hundreds of millions of patriotic Americans with my message of peace and prosperity. But right now, I want to speak to you directly. Okay, can we talk about that for a second? You're saying that there were hundreds of millions of people who listened to that? Hundreds of millions of people, really? I mean, when I was looking, it was like 1 million people maybe who were listening to that. So less people listening to that than watch any of our MeidasTouch YouTube views. And you think your message was one of peace and prosperity, that's what you were talking about? That's what you're going with and telling the cult? Because I remember you slurring your words and saying that you thought that Time magazine made Vice President Kamala Harris look like Melania as you kind of just spouted these incoherent thoughts like this. Play the clip.
She's terrible, but she's getting a free ride. I saw a picture of her on Time magazine today. She looks like the most beautiful actress ever to live. It was a drawing, and actually, she looked very much like our great first lady, Melania. She looked, didn't look, she didn't look like Camilla. That's right. But of course, she's a beautiful woman, so we'll leave it at that, right?
I mean, look, quite literally, you sound like Daffy Duck. I mean, that's why Daffy Duck was trending. Here, this is Daffy Duck. Here, play the clip.
I may be a craven little coward, but I'm a greedy craven little coward. I just gotta have that 5G.
Yeah, that's what. Here's another clip of Donald Trump from the interview. Play this clip.
But that's okay. That's the way I get treated, and I don't mind that at all. What I can tell you is this. We cannot have a Democrat. We cannot have her. She's incompetent. She's as bad as Biden in a different. Look, she hasn't done an interview since this whole scam started. And say what you want. This was a coup. This was a coup of.
And here's another clip of Donald Trump play.
And again, I told you their crime rates all over the world are going way down, which makes sense. In fact, the next time what we'll do is if something happens with this election, which would be a horror show, we'll meet the next time in Venezuela because it'll be a far safer place to meet than our country. Okay, so we'll go. You and I will go, and we'll have a meeting and dinner in Venezuela because that's what's happening.
Hey, I'm Ben Meiselas, co-founder of the MeidasTouch Network. I just wanted to take a brief break from that last video to give you a climate change update. And I want to do it in the context of Vice President Kamala Harris's VP pick, Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota. We all know now Governor Walz was selected by Vice President Kamala Harris to be on her ticket. Over the course of his 2 terms in office, the New York Times recently wrote that Governor Tim Walz quietly emerged as one of the nation's most forceful advocates for tackling climate change. Back in St. Paul, Governor Walz had been increasingly focused on the threats posed by climate change to his state and had been enacting ambitious policies designed to slash the use of fossil fuels that are dangerously heating the planet. The New York Times even wrote that in 2023, Governor Walz signed a law requiring Minnesota to generate all of its electricity from wind, solar, and other carbon-free sources by 2040, eliminating the climate-warming pollution generated by coal and gas-fired power plants. That law came in the midst of a legislative session in which Minnesota Democrats, working with Governor Walz, pushed through nearly 40 other climate initiatives. In June, Governor Walz signed a law designed to speed the implementation of the 2040 Clean Power Mandate by streamlining the permitting of renewable electricity projects. So, wanted to give you that update on Governor Walz and his positions on climate change. Now, back to the video you were watching. Like, what in the world even was that? And, look, Donald Trump, who's obsessed about lying about the size of crowds and how big things are, he reposts Elon Musk. And, Elon Musk is just making up the numbers also. Elon Musk goes, combined views of the conversation with Donald Trump and subsequent discussion by other accounts now is 1 billion. It's a billion people. They just make up numbers. And Donald Trump goes, an all-time record. But the media refuses to write about it because they are fake news. A random thought just popped into my head, though, so I want to share this video clip with you. Like, when Donald Trump goes to Michigan, and when he, not recently, of course, but when he goes to Michigan, part of the speech is he says that he won Michigan Person of the Year, which isn't even like an award. And he just makes up that he won that. Here, play this clip.
Years ago, they gave me in Michigan the Man of the Year. That was long before I was a politician. I was a business guy. I did well. I liked the state, but I don't know. I heard Man of the Year, Michigan. I said, that's cool. That's good. I'm going to make that trip. I didn't know why they were giving it to me. Nothing, but they were giving it to me for, I guess, the fact that I employed a lot of people. I did real well. This is probably 14 years ago. And I came.
Or how about last week when Donald Trump was bragging that the crowd sizes that he has or that he got during the January 6th insurrection was bigger than the crowd size that Martin Luther King drew, even though Martin Luther King drew crowd sizes that were 5 to 10 times, maybe even more, bigger than the insurrection crowd. We're bragging about the insurrection crowd. Now here, play this clip.
Never see the picture of the crowd. The biggest crowd I've ever spoken. I've spoken to the biggest crowds. Nobody's spoken to crowds bigger than me. If you look at Martin Luther King, when he did his speech, his great speech, and you look at ours, same real estate, same everything, same number of people. If not, we had more. And they said he had 1 million people, but I had 25,000 people. But when you look at the exact same picture, and everything's the same because it was the fountains, the whole thing, all the way back to from Lincoln to Washington, and you look at it, and you look at the picture of his crowd, my crowd, we actually had more people. They said I had 25,000, and he had 1 million people, and I'm okay with it because I liked Dr. Martin Luther King. Yeah.
Also, I mentioned before that Donald Trump changed the lyrics to the national anthem and now does the J6th Choir song and then brags that the J6th Choir has more listeners than Taylor Swift, or more people listen to it than Taylor Swift. And he plays the J6th song at the beginning of his speech, just so you see a little bit of that. Here, play this clip.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and place your hand over your heart for the #1 song on iTunes, Amazon, and the Billboard charts, Justice for All, featuring President Donald J. Trump and the J6 Choir.
Looking at some of the comments from Donald Trump's, this was posted on the Daily Mail, which posted a clip of Donald Trump speaking last night. There are comments like, President of the United States, does he have his teeth in? Is this Daffy Duck? Sounds like Don doesn't have his dentures in. How did he get this lisp? Daffy Duck is super upset. Now who is the oldest nominee? But look, the main point I really want to be making here, though, as well, yes, Donald Trump is having these meltdowns every single day, sure, but I don't want to normalize the behavior by him. I mean, sending weird love letters to people who, in emails saying, Ben, you need to tell me right now, putting your name over the United States of America flag. I mean, what are we even doing here? I just think it's important, share this stuff, share the video. Let's get to share these videos. Let's get to 3 million subscribers, and let's, wake up Americans and let them know what's going on. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 3 million together.